I told you the strength of the US dollar isn't just about America's economy, but something far more strategic: oil? To really understand this, we have to go back to a turning point in history. In 1971, the United States faced a serious financial dilemma. For years, the global system operated under the gold standard, meaning the US dollar could be exchanged for a fixed amount of gold. This gave the dollar trust and stability. But there was a problem. The US had started printing more money than it could actually back with gold. Other countries noticed, and they began demanding gold in exchange for their dollars. This created pressure the system couldn't handle. So in a bold move, Richard Nixon ended the gold standard. The dollar was no longer tied to gold. It became a fiat currency, money backed purely by trust. But that raised a critical question. Why would the world continue to rely on the US dollar? That's where oil changed everything. During the 1970s, the United States made a powerful agreement with Saudi Arabia, one of the world's top oil producers. The deal was simple but game-changing. Saudi Arabia would sell oil only in US dollars. In return, the US would provide military support and protection. Soon, other oil-producing nations, especially within OPEC, followed the same system. And just like that, a new global standard was born. Oil, arguably the most important resource in the world, could now only be bought using US dollars. This created what we call the petrodollar system. Think about the impact. Every country needs oil, whether it's for transport, manufacturing, or energy. So if nations like Japan, Germany, or India wanted oil, they first needed US dollars. That meant earning dollars through trade or buying them in global markets. Over time, countries started holding large reserves of dollars. Global trade, savings, and even pricing systems began revolving around the dollar. This created constant demand and gave the United States a massive advantage. Because the world needed dollars, the US could print more money and carry larger debts without losing trust in its currency. In a way, America wasn't just using its currency, it was exporting it globally. But today, this system is beginning to shift. Countries like China and Russia are actively trying to reduce their reliance on the dollar. China is pushing for oil trades in its own currency, the yuan. Russia has already moved some of its energy deals away from the dollar, especially after facing sanctions. Even Saudi Arabia has started accepting alternative currencies in certain agreements. So why does this matter? Because the dollar system gives the United States enormous influence. When countries depend on it, the US can impose sanctions, restrict access, and even freeze financial assets. Naturally, many nations now want more independence. If this trend continues, global demand for the dollar could gradually weaken. That could mean less freedom for the US to print money, more inflation pressure, and a shift in global financial power. Now, this doesn't mean the dollar will collapse overnight. The United States still has the world's largest economy and strong financial institutions. But one thing is clear: the system that once made the dollar untouchable is no longer unchallenged. The petrodollar wasn't just about currency, it was about control, influence, and global dominance. And for decades, that power has been fueled by oil.